Yes.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I call this meeting of the Economic Development Authority of the City of Manassas Park to order. I would like to welcome our new directors, and if you would please, if we could start and let everyone introduce themselves. I guess I will start to my left with,
Len Tabachi.
okay.
Robert Maldonado.
Josh Esteban.
Eddie Harden.
Rachel Kirkland.
Jeanette Rischel.
Thank you, everyone. So nice to have everyone here tonight. I guess we'll move on with our agenda. And the next item is the approval of our agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. So moved.
Okay.
Seconded.
All in favor to approve the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. The agenda is approved. The next item on our agenda is citizen time. Lana, do we?
No,
Nope.
this is your finance director, who's also secretary.
Okay, thank you, Josh. I will start to refer to you. Okay, so we don't have any citizen time. Our next item is the reading, approval, and correction of the minutes from our last three meetings that were held on September 25th, 2024, October 29th, 2024, and November 19th, 2024. Is there a motion to approve the minutes individually and collectively from the last three meetings that were held on those dates?
I'll make that motion to approve the minutes for September 25th, 2024, October 29th, 2024, and November 19th, 2024.
And I'll second.
All in favor of approving the minutes individually and collectively from our last three meetings as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. The minutes individually.
Two abstentions.
Oops, abstention?
Abstentions, since we were on the board. and
Oh,
so
you
we
were on the board.
right.
Okay. All right.
Same here for me, Madam Chairperson,
Okay.
for September 25th and November 19th.
November 19th,
Yes, ma'am.
2024. Okay. I believe the ayes still have it.
Mhm.
So the minutes individually and collectively from our last meetings that were held on September 25th, 2024, October 29th, and 2024, and November 19th, 2024 are approved with the abstentions. Okay, moving on now to old business. We are moving to the appointment of a vice chairman. And Dean, I don't know if there's a protocol to doing so, but if there's anyone on the board that is interested in being vice chairman, we can definitely move forward.
Someone can nominate?
I-
Anyone?
Yeah, you can make a motion to nominate.
Yes.
I will not make a motion for myself. However, in the absence, if anybody else does not want to, I would gladly vice chair.
Okay. Is there a motion to nominate, well, let me first ask, is there anyone else? Okay,
I make a
Is-
motion to nominate her.
okay,
Second.
okay. All in favor of appointing Ms. Rachel Kirkland as the vice chairman of the EDA, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. Ms. Rachel Kirkland is appointed as the vice chairman of the EDA. Congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am.
I look forward to working more closely with you. Okay, the next matter is the appointment of Carl Cole as the city representative to the EDA to replace Keith Wen. Is there a motion to appoint Carl Cole as the city representative to the EDA to replace Keith Wen?
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor to appoint?
Second
All in favor to appoint Carl Cole as the city representative to the EDA to replace Keith Wen, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. Carl Cole is appointed as the city representative to the EDA to replace Keith Wen. And next on the agenda is a report to be given by Dean Crowhurst, our city attorney. He's going to give an update on downtown.
Well, Madam Chair, I think that
Did I-
item 6A is first.
My apologies. Dean, my apologies. I'll move forward, I'll move back, because we are now moving to new business. And the next item is the approval of Park Central Plaza Development and Financing Agreement.
I'll take that one. So this agreement was put together first by our bond counsel, and then it was negotiated between B&B's counsel and me to finalize it. What it does is it essentially lays out the relationship between the four parties to the theater project. And that is the city, the EDA, B&B Theaters, which is going to be the developer, or I'm sorry, the B&B entity that's going to be developing the site and also owning the site and operating the site. And then the corporate guarantor is the parent company, and they're in there just to show what they're going to do and how they're going to support this as the guarantor. It's going to be recorded among land records. You'll notice there's a lot of blanks that are in there, and those will be filled in as the time comes. I'll update you a little bit on the status of the bonds at the next item. But the one difference between what's in your packet and what we finally agreed to is on it's the page 3 of the agreement itself. It's I'll have to look. Let me see what page it is in your packet real quick. Looks like it's going to be page 19 of 59 of your packet. You look, if you get to that page and look at the definition of construction agreement.
Not that page.
If you go down, see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines down, you'll see it says shall provide for a guaranteed maximum price. If you see that, that is what we use when we have a design-build contract. This is not a design-build contract, and actually it would be to the detriment of B&B to have that in there, because what typically happens is there's price inflation that goes along with the maximum guaranteed maximum price. So we have deleted that phrase out.
Dean,
So
can you give
now-
us that reference again? I'm not seeing it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so page 19 of 59 of your
Looking at
packet.
Top of the page is
Construction agreement.
affiliate. At top of the page, it says affiliate, and at the bottom it says development documents.
Right, go down to where it says construction agreement,
Gotcha.
and then go down 6, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 6th line down that says shall provide for a guaranteed maximum price.
Yes.
Okay.
Is that being struck?
That's- That phrase has been struck, so now it just reads that sentence. It starts on the 4th line down. It says, each construction agreement shall be between the parcel owner and a general contractor reasonably satisfactory to the city, and shall in all other material respects be reasonably acceptable to the city or the EDA as applicable in its sole discretion.
Okay.
And that's the one that Lana has for Luana to sign if you approve this tonight.
Okay.
I don't know if you had a chance to read through it, and if you have any questions on it. What it does, it basically clarifies the roles that we've been discussing over the last many months and actually it's been at least a year, I think. So in those discussions, we talked about various things that each party was going to do. This just states it for the record, and this will be in the land records as well. It'll be recorded running against the land. So this is the protection in addition to the deed of trust that we're going to record against the property, and then also the right of reverter that's already in the deed of conveyance to B&B. So it's designed to give as much protection to the EDA and the city as possible, and also give some clarification and certainty to B&B entities.
That makes sense.
And Dean, that was the only change, the document that I read was on the page 19 that you just mentioned?
That's the only one.
Okay.
Yeah, previously the governing body, their version, we had deleted a term for the audit, the audited financial statements. They're a private entity, so they don't do audited financial statements. They provide the financial statements and then an affidavit or something to that effect saying from their CPA stating that those are accurate records. But that's all they have, and that was the only change that was on the governing body's agenda. That was already incorporated into the version that you have in your packet right now.
Thank Thank you, Madam Chair. Very happy to see that it does not require a general obligation of the city, nor a pledge of the city's full faith and credit, so I was very glad to see that. Also, a quick question, just wanted to confirm that the liability amounts on page 23 of 59 are the industry standards.
Let me go to that page real quick. Oh, the liability, yes, yes, and those are also what we typically use for our contracts as well. But yes, those are standard amounts.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome.
You're welcome, Director Rischel. Are there any more questions from any of our directors?
No, I'm not here.
No questions? Any more questions?
I have a comment that I'd just like to make real quick, just to let you know, there probably will be some non-material changes just because the title of this thing talks about it's the plaza, and I don't think that's an accurate statement. That was done by the bond counsel when he didn't really understand what it was. So it's probably the title will probably change to something like the theater project or entertainment center or something like that, just to clarify exactly what it is. Unless you want to keep it Park Central Plaza, I don't have a problem with that either.
And that would just amend the document and it would come back before us, or would you just amend it after?
That's typically a non-material change that,
Okay.
so what I would ask since I'm the EDA attorney, I would ask that if you approve it subject to final EDA attorney review. The governing body typically does that. It allows me to make these non-material changes, or put a comma where a comma wasn't, things like that. Anything material obviously would have to come back to the EDA and the governing body for approval.
So that was, the language was subject to final
Final EDA attorney review.
EDA attorney review. Okay, thank you.
Okay, are we ready to move forward? Yes. Okay. Is there a motion to approve the Park Central Plaza Development and Financing Agreement, subject to final EDA attorney review?
So moved.
Well, as presented as well.
As
Sorry.
as presented?
And subject to final EDA attorney review.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. The Park Central Plaza Development and Financing Agreement, as presented, is approved, subject to final EDA attorney review. Is that sufficient, Dean?
Thank you.
Okay,
That's perfect. Thank you very much.
you're welcome. Okay, next on the agenda, now we get to where Dean is going to give us an update on the downtown.
Actually, Carl's.
So I asked who had put that in there, because I didn't really know why I was doing this presentation. So Carl is going to take it from the business standpoint. If there are any questions about the legal issues, I can handle that. Does that sound reasonable?
Very.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. Nice to see a full dais of EDA members here. So, not really sure exactly what you're looking for, but I will say that I was just notified today that we are one lease away from having all of Park 170 Building A and B under contract. Just to give you an idea of what's going in there. The one that we're waiting on that is supposed to go from letter of interest to a lease this week is Katerine's Greek Restaurant. Apparently a winner. Then also you'll see a nail spa, and in Essence Nail Spa, Koki Tea Restaurant, a pho restaurant, Wing It, which I assume is a chicken wing establishment. I'm not familiar with that. You'll also see a Nash and Smash, which is coming in on the end of that building, on the far west end of that building B. Then you've seen, obviously, Madam Chair and I went to the grand opening of the Yoders and the Sofon ice cream last week or two ago. Also in that building, there will be a Larcomar Cafe and a Tortino Mare as the other restaurant. But that fills up all of the retail space in those two buildings for the first time ever, I believe. So that's a big deal for us. You know, we'll get the meals tax off that, sales tax. There's a lot of positive benefits for the city because of that. Across the parking lot here, you know, we just talking about the B&B movie theater project, which is their build time is about 14 months from once they get the project going, and that's all dependent on when the bonds get issued, which we're hoping will be first or second week of May. So hopefully they'll be open for blockbuster season in next year. So 2026, yes. Hard to do math. The restaurant next door, All America's Steakhouse, is set to have their grand opening in May. I believe May 15th, if I'm not mistaken.
My birthday.
Nope, not May 15th.
Get a free steak.
Steak dinner.
Well, sometime in May, I know that. So they basically have the inside built out. They need to film the windows, so you're not looking at insulation through the glass, which is how it is right now, but they're planning to be open then. Downstairs, Girani's is supposed to be open. They're going to be putting their hood in and their HVAC next week. So we're also going to put the hood in and the HVAC for the restaurant space next door, because even though that restaurant's not ready to go yet, we don't want to, we're going to have to tear open the walls on the second floor and the third floor in the schools and the library. And we don't want to do that twice. So we're going to front the money to build that second vent and HVAC corridor, and then we'll recover that when La Finca is ready to open. La Finca is back on track, so hopefully that will be open by the end of the year, and Girani's should be open sometime in the middle of summer. All of these things opening create a need for parking, and so also the parking garage. I've heard estimates of that construction being done anywhere between July and October for that to be open. And if you don't know, we are the proud owners of the first floor of that garage. So that first floor of the garage is dedicated to city parking for people coming here or to any one of the businesses that are going to be popping up here in the next few months. I think
Hey,
that's
Carl,
it.
can I just chime
Yeah,
in real quick on something?
of course.
Yeah, I just want to make it clear, so the way that we structured the agreement for that parking garage is, yes, the city does own the first floor. And yes, it's supposed to be used primarily by city visitors to City Hall and the restaurants and B&B. But, you know, commuters can use that lot and city visitors can use the other 3 floors as well. So you're not confined to that. It's just the reason we set it up that way has more to do with maintenance responsibilities between the VRE and the city. So for the public, they should just look at it as one parking garage. And I also wanted to say that I'm very happy about the first floor of those 2 buildings across the street, because I've been around long enough that I remember when that was promised to the city back in 2006. So we're looking at 19 years that it's not been fully occupied. So congratulations to everybody.
And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Too, and probably just because I am new to this party. First of all, how many parking spots are on the parking deck?
I have no idea.
Do
A
you?
lot.
Do you have any idea?
It's over 500. I
Okay.
want to say it's 560 something, but I don't have it off the top of my head.
Okay, and
I
ostensibly
don't know
that's,
the exact number.
just for my clarification, that's ostensibly to serve downtown and the VRE lot.
Right.
Right,
And
okay.
it'll supplement the parking across the tracks for VRE as well. So combined, VRE is going to have well over, I think, 800 to 900 spaces between those 2 lots. Now, also something to remember is that outside of VRE hours, we, the city, have the right to use the parking lots across the railroad tracks for anything. So we're going to have a pedestrian bridge going over the railroad tracks. So, you know, on the weekends, if we start really getting booming, people can park over there and then cross the bridge and come on over to the movie theater as well.
And in the fullness of time, the land where the flat lot is going to be developed as well?
That, there's no proposal for that yet, but that's, long-term goal is to do that, but it would probably involve another parking garage to make up for the loss of space.
Okay. And the other thing I wanted to ask you about, again, having been a long time, we've known each other a minute, recalling back to when we first got those apartment buildings with the businesses on the floor. On Market Street, I believe, there were places that could be storefronts or units, and they're still just going to be apartment rentals, correct?
Well, that's up to the owner, and it's gonna be market driven. So if the downtown takes off like we hope it will, then those are gonna be more valuable as commercial spaces than they are residential. So, hopefully we'll not have people out there in their lawn chairs, smoking a pipe, in the afternoon if the downtown really takes off.
Okay, lovely. And apologies for the sharp breath on the news of Katerina's. You might have just figured out my favorite restaurant, though.
So I do have a question, Carl. We do have all the retail spaces. When do you anticipate, grand openings? And how does that, coincide with the parking garage being complete?
Grand openings for the retail space across the street?
Yes.
Yeah. They'll be somewhat concurrent. As a matter of fact, the owner of that building, Hosta, reached out today because he'd like to schedule some kind of a release, a press release or some kind of an event to celebrate the fact that all of those spaces have been inked. Like I said, there was one, it's still letter of interest, supposed to go to lease this week, but so we should have more information on that once we start collaborating and trying to figure out how we're going to celebrate it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question here. So looking at page 5 here, under the category 6 of recruitment, what is that process for recruitment, and what is the general criteria for the recruitment of businesses? I'm looking at dance studio, fitness studio concept, like those kind of ideas.
Where are you looking at, sir?
So page 5, in the middle graphic there, where it breaks down the second graphic, where it breaks down the categories. The very last category, the Cat 6, it says recruitment.
Yeah, I think I found what
Yes,
it is, yeah.
that's it.
Yeah. And I think that is, one of our prior meetings when, they were looking at what the opportunities were, but they've already pretty much rented out all of the spaces now.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I think that's just a reverse order of the process of getting someone in there. So recruitment is where we have a guy that goes out, he works for the city, and he's been collaborating with the owners across the street as well to go out and get tenants. And so he does that, gets the letter of intent, and then the negotiations start. And I think those are just showing various businesses that are in that, or at some point we're in that status. So I'm not sure in the recruitment what those ones are, if they still are in recruitment or not.
Copy all.
I don't know if that was your question.
It was. Thank you.
Madam Chair, just a question.
Yes.
I'd like to express my happiness that the progress we've made in leasing out those spaces. But just for my curiosity, are there specific metrics that the city requires for locators in the area, for example, in terms of market, in terms of the products that they offer, as well as whether they align with the overall makeup of the downtown that we envision?
Yeah, so we do talk to our consultant about that. At the end of the day, we don't have any say. I mean, if somebody has the money and they want to strike a deal with the private owner to lease the space, then they get to. But that's, now I see what you're talking about on the recruitment, or what you were talking about on the recruitment. We were trying to get a broad mix, in there so that, in fact, I think there was going to be an eye doctor as well, or a chiropractor or something like that. So that it could serve all of those needs. But at the end of the day, it's not up to us. But Quentin has been going out trying to find that broad mix of of businesses and try to get them to come here. But it seems like we got a lot of restaurants now, but hopefully we can support them.
Thank you.
Season fitness.
Are there any more questions, comments? Okay, hearing none. Thank you very much, Carl. Really appreciate it. Up next is the chairman's report, and I do not have anything to report. Next is the director's report. Do any of our directors have anything to report?
Madam Chairman, only a question. I got a query from Attorney Crowhurst about a week or so ago about the treasurer role. Do we have an EDA treasurer? I was the treasurer at one point, but I relinquished that role, and I'm just trying to figure out who might the treasurer be now. Okay.
It's actually Josh.
Okay.
Our, the city's finance director. We found out he was actually appointed, when Pond left. So you're absolutely right, Lynn, you're no longer on the hook.
Okay.
And we're taking care of that letter we were talking about. It's a letter to the auditor of public accounts. Because you have such a small amount of money in your banking account, you don't have to have a full-on audit. The question arose because of the bonds, and the city audit is what's, holding up the bond issuance right now. So we're waiting on that final audit report. And the bonds, our financial advisors were just asking about the audit for the EDA, and I explained to them that we don't typically have to do that because we don't have enough money to worry about. It's $25,000 is the threshold, and we only have a couple $1,000s in the bank account, or you do.
Okay. Thank you, Dean.
Thank you.
And Dean, just for clarity and confirmation, Joshua is our treasurer and secretary?
Well, he's a treasurer. I didn't know he was the secretary.
No,
I can't speak.
You're
to
saying,
that.
okay, Lana is confirming that she's our secretary, okay.
That's what I thought, but I didn't want to assume.
I thought I heard something else, so my apologies. Thank you, Lynn, for that question. Do we have anything else from our directors? Okay, and then just for confirmation, we do not have a closed meeting session tonight?
No.
And
That's correct.
do we have any other business? I do not believe we do. Is there anything else, Lynn?
It's a motion to close.
Okay.
You go.
Director Harden?
Had a question.
Oh, yeah, go.
You have one
No.
already? You can go
No,
ahead.
no,
I'll wait.
I don't have a question. I was going to do the next thing.
Just one comment. This idea, this report we had on the leases for all the, awesome.
Yes.
I've been on the EDA for a long time, and this has been a long time coming. So this is great news. Well, that's it.
Yes.
And I just want to say it's nice to see some friendly faces on the EDA. Some I've known before, but other new ones, and all look pretty friendly and excited, so I'm glad to see it.
Thank you.
And I know that there,
And-
go ahead, Dean.
I was just going to point out also, for the new folks, I've been the EDA attorney since its conception as an EDA. I will be resigning or retiring in July, so I'm not sure who's going to be, you'll have to appoint the new EDA attorney after I'm gone. It's probably going to be a local law firm or a law firm, an individual appointed by that law firm to represent Manassas Park. Probably the same person would be the EDA attorney unless they have internal conflicts checks that prevent that. But I have not yet had a conflict that prevented me from representing both of you, so I want you to be aware of that. So some new blood will be coming in soon.
Well, Dean, thank you so very much, and we truly appreciate your service.
Oh, yeah.
You've been wonderful.
You did?
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Director Hart?
Thank you. Speaking of new blood, so this is my first meeting here, and curious about item number 9. What are some of the topics in general that would warrant closed meeting sessions? This is
So
just-
the closed meetings are covered in subsection 2.2-3711A of the Code of Virginia. And in there are specific items, and you can only go into closed meeting if it's for one of those specific items, and then only to discuss that. So if you go into a closed meeting, say, to discuss a prospective business that has not yet announced its intention of locating in the city, you can't go in there and also talk about, the latest development in downtown. That you have to keep them separate. You have to focus on that. But it's rare that you would go in there for an EDA. It's typically going to be that, or a contract, or in particular, well, we were negotiating the terms for the bond issuance. We went into closed meeting to talk about legal advice, and then basically it's consultation with legal counsel is a big one, because that when you're negotiating an agreement, a lot of times I need to find out what the terms are that you can accept, so I can then go back and craft that agreement. Eventually, of course, it has to be voted on in public. So no business can occur in a closed meeting. Votes taken in a closed meeting have no legal meaning at all. They're just straw polls. You have to come out and certify that nothing improper was actually discussed. So you have to take it very seriously when you're in a closed meeting, what you do discuss. So it's easy to get on sidetrack. Somebody has to remind everyone to kind of get back on track, and that's usually me or the attorney that's going to be sitting in there. So does that answer your question? But for you guys, it would typically be like a new business is wanting to come into the city, or an existing business wants to expand. They haven't made an announcement publicly, and they want to know what the city can do for them. Whether or not you would be interested in issuing a EDA bond for them. So those are the kind of questions that probably you'll see. Some of the other things for other bodies, like Rachel has been on the school board, they can go in and talk about various issues associated with students that the governing body couldn't do because we don't have students. So it's a large category, but not everything in there is going to apply to every public body.
Awesome, thank you.
Well,
Okay. Any more questions, concerns, comments, directors? Okay, hearing none. Is there a motion that we adjourn our meeting?
I move to adjourn.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. Our meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.